afternoon, folks. I know it's been a while. Just busy with my youngest daughter, softball, school plays, school concert for chorus and band. We've just been very busy. Everything that I've done, it seems like I've always been just squeezing it in a hurry. I have shot some video, but it just wasn't meant to be for quality. So anyway, we're brush hogging down here in the potato field. I just thought I'd make a quick one just to let you guys know that we are still alive and kicking. I don't know how far back in here I'm going to be able to get. It's been dry, like super dry, but that doesn't always mean I can get back in here for whatever reason. This area back here just retains moisture. I do not have four-wheel drive engaged. Obviously I can just flip the lever and engage it if needed, but I guess I wanted to see if I needed it through here first. Now I'm over here by our drainage ditch, but it's pretty dry. Now, in case anybody's wondering, I did sell the flail mower. For the record, I actually really liked it. I just didn't use it as much as I thought I would. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of an old school brush hog kind of guy. Got one pass through here cleaned out, I might be able to get one more in there a little bit closer. Oh, or not. I guess I was kind of in the ditch right there. Well, I guess not. Lots of discussion in Facebook groups, tractor forums about brush hogging, the best way to get a nice finish. The single biggest thing that everybody needs to be told, and then they need to remember, is it's a rough cut mower. It isn't going to leave a finished mower quality. But like what I did is I came around and then I turned around and I'm going back so that this, where my tires matted that grass down, I stand a better chance of having, you know, those chain guards on the front, kind of like they comb through it on the way back through. I have a better chance of those bringing it back up where I can get it than I would if I just kept going in the same direction. But it truly depends upon what you're looking for. One thing we did contemplate, except, see, this section I'm in right now is rougher than rough. And if it wasn't for this section right here, honestly, I toyed with the idea of buying a 6-foot finish mower for the back of this. And once I got this initial cut down like this, just to maintain it with the finish mower. But then again, I don't really think it needs to look that good. And I think it looks just fine with the brush hog. This mower, this is a Frontier RC 2060. When they were made by Woods, I believe Tartar USA actually has the contract right now for Frontier brush hogs. So these blades that are on this is a standard duty mower. It's not a heavy duty. It's not the John Deere MX5, which is gonna have a heavier deck, a heavier gearbox. It's gonna probably have heavier blades. The blades on this one are not that typical half-inch thick of a, I don't know why. And they've actually got a pretty nice lift to them. This mower has always done a stellar job. I had a county line made by Carter, a 4-footer, when I had my 1023, and I absolutely hate it. That mower just did the worst job of any mower I've ever used. And my dad had a Bush Hog brand, which did a real good job, but it was a heavy. It was a squealer, I don't know, whatever they call. It was a pretty heavy duty one. And this one does probably the best job of any of them that I've ever used as far as cut quality. Now, wheel speed, you can see the engine load. I'm only running about 40. This is not the heavier stuff though. Once I get down back, it'll be a little bit better than that. Engine RPMs, fuel level, fuel temp, my wheel speed, and that's not, hold on, when I get where I can, now I can scroll up, and I got 9% soot load. I just did a regen recently. PTO is on. PTO hour meter, 20 hours on the PTO so far, and cruise ground speed is set at 2.5, and I'm running about 525 PTO RPMs. Yeah, I know, get the PTO police after me because I'm not running 540. That's another one, you know, everybody says, oh well, you know, that implement, the manual says it's designed to run at 540. Well, you know, you got to take things with a grain of salt. There's some common sense that has to be involved in operating of equipment. Take our 4-rotor tedder, that hay tedder that I pull. Now that's 540 RPMs. And if I ran that at 540 RPMs, I'd be throwing hay clear into the next field. So, you know, you got to take things, you think a little bit, you know, for always having to turn 540. This is doing a real good job of cutting through here at 525. Other things in the discussions about brush hogging is, I've talked about this before in other videos, well, down here in this field, mowing the buckwheat a couple years ago. You know, is how we actually set the deck with the front pitched up just a little bit. In my opinion, it gives a much nicer cut that way. But a lot of people, they're so set in the old traditional method was always with the front an inch or two lower than the back. And you know, that does help if you're in heavy material. It does help clear it out. It blows it out the back. But like this brush hog here has got a rear guard with chains and the whole 9 yards anyway. So really there ain't a whole lot getting kicked out the back on this one, no matter how I set it up. But you know, you gotta think outside the box a little bit. I said to a guy on Green Tractor Talk the other day, because he can sometimes be philosophical. He throws out these quotes and sayings and whatnot, and sometimes it's kind of neat, you know. I always picture him 20 years from now being that old man sitting at the barber shop in one of the chairs, even though he doesn't need a haircut, just spewing out one-liners to young guys and making them think. But I said, you know, you're a philosophical guy. I said, imagine where we'd be if all of the innovators in the history of our country, imagine where we'd be if all the innovators just said, everybody else is doing it this way, we'll just keep doing it that way. You know, sometimes you got to think outside the box. Try it. All you can do is try it. If it don't work for you, well, it don't work for you. You can come back and tell me that I was full of crap. I don't care. It ain't gonna hurt my feelings. It works for us. And that's all really that I care about. But bone dry back here, which I did fully expect that, just because, like I say, we had a quarter of an inch of rain the other day. That was the first rain we've gotten in 3 weeks. So, needless to say, it's dry. My potatoes, they're tough, boy. They're tough because they're still coming up, even though we really desperately need rain. They are coming up. So yeah, I mean, we've done some things. I know I haven't been on here in about a month and a half. It was just really busy, and you know, every night we were running and doing things, trying to get things done. So it is what it is. I genuinely very much appreciate anybody that watches my videos, those that comment on my videos. I think that one thing I've always been very good about, I do always try to reply to comments. Alright, so there's one patch of buckwheat that I seeded in. That's coming up too, regardless of the lack of rain. But here's all the potatoes, and I thought maybe I'd be able to hill today, but they're not quite. Well, some are. And there's another patch of buckwheat. On this end. Now next year the potatoes will go here where this buckwheat is, and then this will be buckwheat from there back. That patch of buckwheat there, we're just trying to get that built up, and then maybe someday I'll be able to plant something back there. The trouble is, it usually stays very wet back here, so that's why we typically don't put the potatoes back there. Trying to get the soil built up, get it some health to it, and then I don't know, I might try some sweet corn or something down here some year. Buy a solar fencer and put some electric fence around it, keep the critters out. But that's it. That's what we got going on down here. This here, I'm just brush hogging to make it look better. I gotta get after the horse pasture, but well, I'm almost nervous. Not gonna lie, because this year is almost going just like last year did, where we had all that rain in the early spring, and then it just dried off and it never rained. And I went up here and I brush hogged the horse pastures. because there was rain in the forecast. And I said, all right, well, I'll brush hog them, get some rain. Maybe they'll rejuvenate themselves. No, it never rained. And the pastures were pretty much burned off all summer. And that's kind of where we're at now. And the tough part about this, it's very difficult making hay. Well, it's easy to make it because the weather is cooperating as far as that goes, but there's no yield. We took a first cutting off of one field already, and that field in the past has yielded like 600 small square bales, and we ended up with 180. Now the problem there is a whole complex of things, because everybody's in the same boat. So if you don't make your own hay and you are only buying, you need to get a few suppliers on your Rolodex. For the younger people out there, that used to be a thing with cards in it that people kept phone numbers and contact information. You've got to have more than one supplier. You can't be banking on just one hay supplier on years like this. Last year was the same. Well, last year the first cutting wasn't bad. There just wasn't any. Second cutting to speak of. Add an insult to injury. Like us, for instance, now we only have 2 horses, and we make our own, and it's not hard for us to get enough for them, but we have customers too. And, you know, add an insult to injury. Like, I know, you know, we're feeding a little bit more dry hay this time of year than I normally do, because the pastures are already chewed off and burned up. I'm going to give everybody a quick couple of minute PSA regarding the current hay situation in most of the area where we're at, most of the upper Midwest, I think, from what I'm understanding, Pennsylvania. If you are a hay customer, you buy hay, you don't have the means or the fields, whatever, to make your own hay, you better get on the list and have more than one supplier, because we're all in the same boat. We had a very wet early spring, followed by a few nights of record cold, followed by over 3 weeks with not a drop of rain. Now what happened was the fields were coming up real nice in the spring, and then we got those real thick coming up nice, and then we got those real cold nights, and then I think it stunted that hay right where it was at for growth, because they were already headed out, followed up by 3 weeks without a drop of rain. So what we ended up with is first cutting that is extremely thin, short, and to make matters worse, that dry spell, the fields are actually shrinking because they're just drying up and wilting away. So it's going to be very, very tough come January, February. It's going to be very tough to find hay or quality hay. I know last year we were in a similar similar situation. And I mean, I saw people out cutting and baling on fields that were only but brush hog quality fields, but you know, people were doing what they had to do to get more hay for customers, for their own animals. So it's something to think about. If you have to buy hay, you better get on the list of a few suppliers, at least a few. Keep that in mind. That's your PSA for the day.